Hello, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is the PoppinCulture movie review. My guest is comedian Yuncle Boudreaux. The movie that we'll be reviewing is 50 First Dates. We decided to review this for Valentine's week. It's a great film. I want you to know that this will be 100% spoiler review. But before we spoil the movie, Yuncle, do you believe they should watch it?
I thought we was doing 50 Shades of freaking Grey. I got notes for the wrong damn movie. I thought we was going to talk about whips and chains and naughty stuff like 50 First Date. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a great movie. You may not look at me and think, well, you probably would look at me and think, he don't like rom-coms. You'd be right. I don't like romantic comedies as a general rule because they make the guys out to be absolutely stupid. In most of them, don't they?
Yeah, majority.
Yeah. The girl's the victim. The guy's an idiot. Most of them I don't like. You name a bunch of rom-coms, I probably didn't see most of them. But this one, oh yeah. Should you see it? You're damn right you should see it. And take notes about it and ask yourself, can I love like Henry loved? So
yeah. This is one of Adam Sandler's good movies. I understand he gets a bad rep for making some bad movies, and I agree. He does make some movies just so he can go on vacation. But this is one of his good ones, definitely. I'm just like Yuncle. I believe you should definitely watch it. Before you go out to buy it, it'll probably be on the USA Network later.
Yeah.
All right, everything past this point is spoilers. Yuncle, I'll let you kick it off.
Netflix has it right now.
Okay.
I just watched it today. And of course, you said you watched it today too, to be familiar with it. I did look at a couple of things, other resources besides the movie. But one of the things about the movie, it starts off a group of women talking about this great time they had in Hawaii. They went on vacation to Hawaii, and it was wonderful. Now, my question is, in each one of these women, if you notice something about them, they all went to Hawaii where or how? Alone.
Yeah.
Who the hell goes to Hawaii on vacation by themselves?
Rich people.
I reckon. So all these women go out, and the movie starts off, and they're talking about this great guy they met, and the little Asian girl. There's a scene where there's this Asian girl, and they're all on the phone or either with their girlfriends talking about this great guy. Oh, we went rock climbing, we went hiking. Oh, he was so romantic. We made love. We did this, and the little Asian girl that she was like a medical examiner. She had like a dead body in front of her, and she's speaking Japanese or Chinese, and the closed caption, she says, "He pounded me like a mallard duck." I was at a loss. I'll try to look up, find out what the heck does it mean to be pounded like a mallard duck.
You know Adam Sandler wrote this movie.
Oh, well, hell, that's right. Yeah, I guess it don't mean anything. But so Henry Roth is Adam Sandler's character. He is a player. He lives in Hawaii. He's got it freaking made. He's apparently got a great job. It looks like he lives at the zoo, though, the way it seems like.
Yeah, they did film it that way, yes.
Yeah, he lives at the zoo, but he's got this great apartment. I mean, imagine having an apartment where instead of having a window to the outside, you've got a window to dolphins playing. You know, that's just awesome. But because he lives in Hawaii, he's a veterinarian, it seems to me like.
Yeah.
He works at a aquatic zoo with like walruses and he's got a penguin. He's got some dolphins. And because he's a local, he always meets these women that are on vacation. Again, I don't understand how so many of these women are vacationing alone, but I guess if you got money, you do that. And he wines them and dines them and lies like hell to them. He does these great. Here's the thing, though. I remembered the movie as him being kind of a slime bag, a slimy guy at the beginning. Watching it today, it dawned on me that he did lie to these women. Don't get me wrong, but none of those women were planning to live in Hawaii. They wanted an adventure. They wanted a rendezvous. They wanted to roll in the hay. They wanted what they got. Okay, you could almost make the case that Henry Roth which is Adam's character, he was providing a service. Like,
he was an extra attraction.
Mr. Rourke, Fantasy Island. You ever see Fantasy Island?
Yeah.
He was kind of the Mr. Rourke character. He was providing the fantasy on the island. And it doesn't give a lot of reasoning behind it, but for some reason he doesn't want to have a commitment. He just wants, and when the opening montage of the movie, all these different women, all of them are gorgeous except for this one old woman, and then Kevin James, the comedian Kevin James, he apparently had some sort of a fling with Henry Roth as well, but they don't give the details, and for that I'm very thankful. But the women are all talking about how great their time was and how great the sex was and all the other romantic things he did. It was just great. But then when they asked for his phone number, or when they tried to push it a little bit farther, he always had an excuse. He claimed to be a CIA guy. He claimed to be married, gay, just all kind of stuff, just to get out of it. So he'd meet these women, spend a week with them, sow his wild oats, let them sow theirs, and then they would go on, and he's free to find, there's always people coming to Hawaii, and we're at the point where we're kind of describing the movie now, right? I'm not jumping ahead or anything, am I? So he's got this, he loves walruses, and he wants to study them. So he's got this plan to go to Alaska, I think.
Yep.
And sail to Alaska and study walruses under the water.
Yep.
And because, we all see what the walrus does on top of the water, but under the water, not much known. So he was going to do that. So he's working on this boat. He's got a sidekick played by Rob Schneider, right?
Yep.
What an idiot. I mean, you love him. And he's got a bunch of kids, and he smokes a little weed, and he's just a weirdo. But he's that again, that sidekick that almost every main character in every romantic comedy has.
Yep. He's
that guy, and he's as good at it as anybody. So in the movie, Henry Roth is going about his business. He's living the dream, living life. He's out on his boat. Something happens to the boat. Something breaks. He has to take a little inflatable motorized raft to this part of the island that apparently he didn't go to very often. And he ends up in this little cafe, and he meets Drew Barrymore, whose name is Lucy in the movie. And one thing I noticed right off that made me like the movie even better is, with the exception of Kevin James and the much older woman, Drew Barrymore, who I find incredibly attractive, is not as attractive by most standards as any of the women that was talking in the beginning. They all seem prettier than her. She was, I don't want to say plain, because she wasn't plain, but she was certainly the girl next door. I mean, just your simple, sweet girl. And he sees her, and he meets her, and he talks to her, and he's unaware of this condition she has. Now, again, this is a spoiler. If you haven't seen this movie, shame on you. You should see this movie. Actually, if you haven't seen this movie, stop now. Go watch the movie, then come back and watch this later. But those of you that have, she's got this condition where she cannot create any new memories because of a car accident and a head injury. So she wakes up every morning, she thinks it's like Groundhog Day. She thinks it's the same day. Now, one thing I noticed about this movie, Hawaii is one of the only places this movie could have been done, because the average temperature in the summer and the average temperature in the winter is only about 8 degrees difference.
Of course.
So she can believe it's the same day every day. So she wakes up every day thinking it's what? Her dad's birthday.
Yeah, October 15th.
October 15th. She thinks it's her daddy's birthday. And what does she do? And she thinks it's a Sunday. So she goes down to this little diner where she's got a woman who turns out to be, you find out later in the movie, is her mom's best friend.
Yep.
And so she goes and has her breakfast. And she's got this neat little thing she does where she cuts her waffles up and makes little houses out of them. The first one was like a teepee. and she just makes all kind of little houses out of her waffles. So Henry Roth is in there, Mr. Playboy, Mr. tapping everything he can tap that comes to the island, and he sees. You remember what gets his attention though? She's got her butter knife and she's twisting it.
Yeah.
And the light catches it, and it goes to his eye. And he looks over and he sees her. She's not looking sexy. She's not looking particularly pretty. She's just very simple. But something about her catches his eye. This is a guy that doesn't want any commitment. He doesn't want to fall in love, but he sees her, and he walks over, and he speaks to her, and they hit it off. They sit down, they have breakfast together. He has no clue about this condition. And I looked up this person named Nikki P-E-G-R-A-M, Pegram, Nikki Pegram. Have you heard that name before? She has that condition, similar.
Wait, England?
In England, yes.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah, only I did some other research on her. Apparently, her head injury made her like a nymphomaniac, where she craved sex with lots of different men, and so it was weird. But she also lost like a whole year of her memory. And not exactly like Lucy's character.
No, that'd be the porn version.
Yeah. She's pretty naughty. She wasn't as pretty as Drew Barrymore either, by a long shot. No. But so there is something to this. You and I, the last time I was here for the first time I was here for the podcast, I think we mentioned the movie Memento.
Yep.
Which is different.
Yep.
The guy in Memento is almost like 10-Minute Tom.
Yep.
In the movie. It starts over, every 10 minutes. But so she has this condition where when she goes to sleep, when she wakes up, she still thinks it's October 15th. And this has been going on for 13 months, give or take. And so he meets her. Her life has been a regiment. Get up, go to breakfast, go home, paint, give your dad his birthday gift, go pick a pineapple, watch the Vikings football game. The gift was the Sixth Sense, the Bruce Willis movie. Watch the movie, go to bed every day. That's what she does. And Henry Roth has no idea. So he shows back up the next day, and she don't know who the hell he is. He's like, we just met yesterday. So the friend at the diner has to take him outside and explain the whole situation. But he's hooked. And the woman that Rob Schneider's character, I can't remember his name. I tried to make sure I remembered it. But anyway, he set him up with this hot chick.
Yep.
I don't know. I've seen her in a lot of different movies. She's absolutely gorgeous. And he's going to get laid. It's set. He's going to get this. She's getting drunk, only she's not really getting drunk, but that's a part of the movie we won't even get into. But he's about to get some of that. But he can't get his mind off Lucy, who, again, by most people's standards, was not as pretty as all these women he's bedding on a regular basis. And Michael and I just did his Valentine podcast. We were talking about romance. And the reason why I wanted to go do this movie as my review is because it's coming out, this podcast is coming out during Valentine's Day. And if ever a romantic comedy captured the essence of not just a sexual attraction, but a movie that displays somebody's true love for somebody else to the point of sacrificial love, along with the laughter, and there's plenty to laugh about. I mean, there's no shortage of laughter. But to watch what the people around Drew Barrymore's character do, not just the romantic interest, but her parents, Sue at the diner, the guy with the tattoo on his face at the diner, the people that sacrifice the way they do because they love this person. there's just a powerful message in it. And at any point, most of us would have said, "This is more than I can do," and we just walked away.
Yeah.
And again, these are kind of a spoiler, but he all right. So imagine loving somebody, falling in love with them, and the premise here is obviously almost love at first sight, because he's got one day to get her to fall in love with him. That's it. No whining and dining. You got to do it right now. And in the movie, the things he does to and I keep forgetting we're reviewing this for people that have seen the movie. I don't have to describe the movie. So let's talk about some specific things. The things he does to win her over. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Okay? The toothpick, one time it worked when he put the toothpick in and made the door work. But then the next day, she got offended and said, "Why are you touching my food?" Sort of like that. Are you from a country where it's okay to put your fingers on somebody's food? You know, what got me, remember when he pretended he couldn't read?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was so Adam Sandler lame. That was one of my least favorite parts of the movie. And he's sitting there, he's got this menu, and he starts crying. Like, she comes over, "What's the matter?" "I can't read." Okay. Let's just pretend he can't read. You know what a damn pancake is.
Yeah.
I want some pancakes. You don't have to read the word pancakes. You know, just that whole concept, I'm thinking, that was so stupid. But did you see the reference? Have you seen Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Did you see the reference to Happy Gilmore in the movie?
I think it was like 2 of them, but yeah, I saw.
Well, the only one I caught, because I've never seen Happy Gilmore from the beginning, was when his buddy does the swing for the golf, and Adam Sandler's like, or Henry Roth was like, "That's the craziest, swing I've ever seen," because it was just like, I didn't see the other one, but when he was pretending not to be able to read, I remember thinking, "Oh God, that was lame." What out of all the little tricks he did, what was your favorite, or what did you think was most clever?
Honestly, I didn't think any were clever. I just like the fact that none of them were like. Well, I think some rom-coms go wrong is they confuse romance with stalking, and it never seemed like he was stalking her. That's why I enjoyed about this movie. It never seemed like he was being a creep.
Sending the penguin out dressed up, that was kind of weird.
But it was funny.
It was funny, yeah.
It was never a moment where I was like, "Oh, why is he watching her from afar?" That's what I'm saying. Like, it was never.
Doesn't she call him a stalker at some point?
Yes.
Whenever they wake up together.
Yeah. I was about to say.
Like, "No, how would I not know that you do this and you like this? You're a stalker."
Yeah.
Whenever she beats up the friend.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think that out.
No. And that's like a running gag in Adam Sandler movies. Usually he gets beat up.
Yeah. You mean the Rob Schneider character?
Yeah, he usually gets beat up. Adam Sandler, I love the fact that he does take care of his friends. Like, if you notice, all his friends, at least 4 of his friends are in every one of his movies.
Oh yeah.
But Rob Schneider is always just the weird guy or the guy that gets beat up.
Oh yeah. I know what I was going to mention. Alexa. Remember who she is?
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, and if you're watching this, you're supposed to have seen the movie. Alexa is creepy looking. However, Lucia Strauss, that plays Alexa, have you seen her?
No.
She's an attractive woman.
Okay.
It's crazy. I remember seeing that because I was honestly thinking, is that a guy? Could it be a guy? It's a girl. Or is it a guy? Because even Adam Sandler says when he's trying to set the girl up that he was supposed to have sex with, the one that was drinking the big bowl, and she says, "Well, can you point me to the direction of somebody I can have sex with?" She goes, "How about that guy over there?" She goes, "That's a guy?" He goes, "Really? I don't know." Okay. So I was doing a little research. I wanted to know a little background about the movie. So I looked her up. Now, she's not gorgeous, but she ain't hard to look at when she's not looking like
I got you.
that character.
I got you.
You have to look her up. Lucia Strauss. I mean, she's got the high cheekbones. You know, you if you look hard enough, you can see that person. You can see Alexa in there.
Okay.
But you can also see, I mean, if they can make Charlize Theron look like she looked in Monster,
Yeah,
they can make anybody look kind of rough.
Yeah, makeup has got way better.
Oh yeah. But so that character was pretty funny. It's good to see Dan Aykroyd. He was the doctor, right? Good to see him doing maybe a little better than a cameo.
Yeah.
Doug's played by Sean Austin, and his lift. And you never want to pick at your kids. I've got a son that has special needs, and I can pick at him, and his brothers and sisters can pick at him. We just don't want nobody else picking at him. But you know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
You can relate.
If you're taking care of them, yeah, I bet so. Yeah.
So one of the funniest scenes that I had never really noticed that much before, when Marlon, Lucy's father, and Doug, the brother, finally warm up to Henry because they realize this guy must really love her. Because when he first meets him, he's like, listen, if you know about Lucy's condition, that every morning she wakes up not remembering anything before October 15th of the year before, any guy that's okay with that ain't okay with me. Because basically, she's prime picking for a one night stand. Because everything you could get her to, if you can work fast enough, get her to fall in love with you. You get to have sex with her, and tomorrow she ain't gonna call. She don't know you. I mean, the kind of person Henry Roth was in that movie, and I think Rob Schneider's character pointed that out. Like, she's perfect for you, man. Any day you want to go get her, go get her. She'll be yours, and then no attachment. But he loved her, and the creativity he uses in making the notebook, making the video, knowing that people talk about love is hard work. And I've often said this. I'll see particularly women will put things on Facebook about, love being work, and you got to work at it, and if it's worth it, you got to work at it. And sometimes I'm thinking to myself, if you got to work that damn hard, this might not be the right one, And that's something that even though Courtney says some of the new has worn off, when we first got together, and I think we both still agree, our relationship, as far as romance, this is the most effortless relationship I've ever been in.
Nice, congrats.
Has some of the new worn off? Oh yeah, I didn't know she could belch when we first met. She can belch like a man. I'm like, what the hell is it thundering outside? She didn't do that when we first met. So we get more comfortable with each other, but. I used to always hear that about, love is hard work, you got to work at it, things are going to fight against you, and you just got to keep plugging away, keep trying. It shouldn't be that damn hard. If you love the person, it should be easy. This guy here loved her so much that he worked his butt off. And when you see the last scene of the movie, when she wakes up, and as an audience member, you don't know how long it's been. And then you realize she's got a 4-year-old daughter or something. You're like,
and a son.
Huh?
It was a son too, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, I thought it saw a daughter and a son. Okay.
Because she says, I think he says something about when you're ready, put your jacket on. It's cold out here. I think he said, come meet your daughter. I don't think there was a son. Now, the granddad, I don't think Doug was there, but the dad was on the boat with him.
Okay.
I don't think there was a son. I think it was just the daughter. Because he tells her, said, are you ready to meet your daughter? And she turns around and runs to the mama and something like that. But it's a great movie. It does what most romantic comedies do, and they all do. They get you laughing and then bring you to that point where everything gets real serious and gets dark and looks hopeless. I don't watch a lot of romantic comedies, but the ones I've watched, they all do it.
It's a formula that sells.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I think about Pretty Woman had it.
Yeah.
Did you say you have seen Fever Pitch, but it's been a long time ago.
Yeah, a very long time. Yeah,
That's with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore.
yeah. She nailed it. She had rom-coms for a minute.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I remember when she was Gertie in E.T.
Okay, I remember as Sabrina not Sabrina. Was she Sabrina Teenage Witch? I'm thinking of another show that's on Nickelodeon.
No, she played in a Stephen King movie called Firestarter.
No, I'm thinking of a Nickelodeon. I can't think of it now. Oh man, can't think of it.
No, she played in a movie called Firestarter when she was real little. But she was Gertie in E. Have you seen E.T.?
Yeah, yeah. That was the first movie I ever cried in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, E.T. Like that was the first movie. I remember I was like either 9 or 10, 8 or 9, and I just remember being like, "Whoa, why am I crying? Like this, like it just hit me like, ooh."
Well, Courtney, when she and I first dated, we talked about. I mean, that's the things you talk about. What's your favorite movies?
Yeah,
You know,
of
what you
course,
like.
yeah.
And I mentioned E.T. because there's certain movies throughout the years that they're so iconic
Yeah.
that when you meet someone that hasn't seen them, you wonder what's wrong with those
You
people.
wonder what country they're from, yeah.
Yeah. And E.T. was one of those. For me, it was one of to me, E.T. Well, Star Wars was probably the first one in my life that I thought everybody had to go see. But I was a kid. But E.T. took things by storm. It was. I told my son Robbie because he remembers, Avatar.
Yeah.
Being the movie everybody had to see, and I'm like, dude, that was E.T. My grandmother, who was in her 60s at the time, had never gone to see a movie in a theater. I don't think. If she did, it might have been True Grit back in 1969 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right. True Grit is a remake. That's right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Now.
yeah.
I've seen the original. I think twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Both are great movies. Those were movies I would have loved to have discussed.
But just let me know when you want to come back.
Yeah, because I would love to discuss the similarities between those two movies.
Yeah.
The original and the remake.
Cool. So,
But with E.T., my grandma went and saw it.
Nice.
And she was like a week later, she says, I'd like to go see that movie about that spaceman again,
Okay.
But anyway, Drew Barrymore, that was like her first big role.
Nice. 1 through 10, what would you give this movie?
I'm going to be tough on it. Okay, I love the movie, don't get me wrong. As a rom-com, I give it a 9. Okay? Just as an overall movie, all things, when you're putting it up against movies like Citizen Kane and Shawshank Redemption, it's going to be it'd be a 6. I'd give it a 6.
Okay. I give it a 7, but that's just because I like it. Like
Yeah.
it's like I said, all this is just biased opinion. At the end of the day, like nobody cares.
Have you seen Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's one of those. I spoke to a guy a while back that he was talking about classic movies, and he was saying, "Oh man, I am a movie buff." He's a young guy. He's in his early 30s maybe. He said, "Man, I'm a movie buff. Any movie you've seen, if it's a classic, I've seen it." He goes on and on. I've seen all the Godfather movies. I've seen Casablanca. Actually, I don't know if he's seen Casablanca, but he goes to a bunch of some older movies. And I hit him in Citizen Kane. He's like, "I don't know if I've ever heard of that one." I'm like, "Don't you ever tell me you're into the classic movies."
Yeah.
Because that's one I would definitely love to discuss because it's so far back. I mean, this is like 1942 maybe or 41. I don't know. It's old.
Yeah, it is.
It was only a couple years after Wizard of Oz. And that's a movie. I don't want to get too far off the topic here, but I told him, I said, "Man, you Google best movies of all times, and I guarantee you won't find a list that ain't got Citizen Kane in the top 5.
Yeah.
And so 1 to 10, I'm gonna stick with 6. Okay. 6, but that's just. Again, I'm not a big fan of romantic comedies.
Yeah, me either.
This one won me over, and so did Fever Pitch.
Yeah.
Not because of Drew Barrymore. The fact that when they made that movie, and by the way, that's a remake. Did you know that?
I knew that.
On a soccer movie, which I don't understand where the pitch comes from. Soccer, I don't get it because it's the same name, Fever Pitch, but it was about soccer. But when they made that movie, they had no idea the Red Sox were going to win the World Series.
Yep.
The whole movie's. Let's just imagine they'd have scrapped the idea and said we're going to put it off for a couple of years. That movie would have never got made because once the Red Sox won it, it'd been kind of hard to go back because they just said, "Oh, you're just." When they started making it, they had no idea the Red Sox were going to win the World Series. And of course, if you guys haven't seen Fever Pitch, then you don't understand what the hell we're talking about.
Nice.
But that's what I like so much about that movie. That's another romantic comedy I really liked.
Nice. Do you think 50 First Dates will become a part of pop culture?
I believe. I don't know if it's ever going to be like. When you say part of pop culture, you're saying like one of those iconic films that just, like Shawshank Redemption and E.T., it should be. I don't know if it ever will. I think romantic comedies, because so many of them are so silly, I don't know if they quite get there to the Shawshanks and the E.T.s and the even the Avatar, which to me, Avatar is just Pocahontas with another planet. Then you still got, with Pocahontas, you got a group of people going to invading, as it were. You got one character blending in with the Indians, and they're trying to take their land and so forth. With Avatar, it's kind of the same thing, only they go into another planet. You got people blending in, trying to take the resources. It's very similar, but it should. I don't know that it'll get the kind of recognition I think it should, but I think it should get the recognition. I think it should become a part of pop culture. It would be good to be a part of pop culture because there's so much about sacrificial love. To me, there's a strong moral lesson to be learned, because Henry Roth's character really, I would defy anybody to give me an example of a character in a romantic comedy that displayed a more selfless act of love than Henry Roth's character in that movie. I don't know who's done it.
I 100% agree, man. And like I said, people should definitely watch it. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on to do the movie review.
Glad to do it.
Anything you'd like to say to your fans?
I thought it was 50 Shades of Grey. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared. No, just kidding. I love this movie, and not a big fan of the other one, because if Christian Grey lived in a trailer park, he'd be in prison. He wouldn't get to do that stuff. Look me up on social media. I'm at YuncleBoudreaux.com. That's Yuncle with a Y, Boudreaux with an X. At Yuncle Boudreaux on TikTok. I don't tick or talk very often, but I'm going to try to do some more of that. Also on Instagram, Yuncle Boudreaux on Facebook, and Yuncle Boudreaux on YouTube. Check out my Facebook page for events. I'm hosting some comedy events. I've had Michael on several of my shows.
They're very fun,
and we have a good time. So far, the rooms I've done have been good rooms. Good. A comedy show is as good as the audience makes it, and I think we've had good audience members each time. I don't think we've had one that was really a bad room, even with the heckling from last month. And a little bit of fighting. That's a little fighting amongst friends. But great show. So look up those if you're in the Orangeburg, Calhoun County, Orangeburg County area, Bamberg County. I'm doing shows, and I'm bringing some really good comedians like Michael Garrick here, and some others to be a part of those shows. So look me up if you're checking this out and you interested in booking me. Again, reach out to me. I've done a few pretty good shows here lately. I've done the Comedy House. Looks like I'll be opening for Donnie Baker this summer at a theater show up in Abbeville and Newton, North Carolina. So
congratulations, man.
Really excited about that. So yeah, anybody interested in booking Yuncle Boudreaux, have overalls, we'll travel. Love to do it.
All right. Thank you again for coming on, and thank you guys for listening, and have an amazing day.